Excellent. It's about that time. I guess I'll get going. I am a chatter box when I get going, so I'll use every minute. But welcome. I thanks for this opportunity to share this application of Brightspace that I've been working on. The inspiration of it was finding, that precious time to communicate with, parents in particular about how the students in your classes are meeting your goals or your expectations. So that can, be positive accomplishments or things that they need to work on. And, emails can be a time sink if you get into it or you have multiple students you want to reach out to. So I'm just going to go through what this feature is in Brightspace and how I've been applying it and give you some examples, and then I'll create one and kind of run it just to show you the process of it and kind of the time that you can save doing it. So got kind of four big sections here. Just kind of describe what the application is and what you can use it for, how I find helpful the main uses, and advantages and disadvantages. Ba-bum-ba. So it's kind of like, AI in a sense, where AI is designed to filter through lots of information based off inputs, and it can gather these things pretty quickly. And it has options you'll see when we look at the program where you can even schedule when it runs, or you can choose when you run these agents to gather certain bits of information. So it has some default criteria that you can easily check off to search for, such as login activity, course activity, and release conditions. I'm going to be primarily using release conditions, course activity. Some of these things aren't really worth noting to home about the student's progress, because login activities, depending on how much you're using Brightspace, I kind of see these as default, like college level courses information that could be useful, that a professor could remind people, hey, you haven't logged in so long, things like that. But the release conditions really open up your options on how you can utilize this. So you can break it down into this is kind of how I did it. Positive achievements. So this can be set to release conditions, to grade thresholds in quizzes or Brightspace assignments. So the score that they get on it can trigger. You can make that release condition, and you can attach an email that can explain further the nature of it. And the other use of it is you can inform parents and students about missing assignments or classroom violate routines, things like that. The classroom routine violation would need you to create like an award, so that you can use that as the placeholder for your release condition. But anything attached to quizzes and achievements, if you've used release conditions, those are some of your options. You can select a quiz and a score they've met on it, or even an assignment. All right, so we'll jump right into how you would create one, the steps to do that. First, you kind of want to obviously decide what this agent you want to create is going to be. Is it going to be something on an award or a release condition to a quiz? When you create an intelligent agent, much like a lot of the things in Brightspace that you create, they give you an option for a category. So to organize your release conditions, you can make category headings to keep them from just being one big jumbled list. I've used positive, missing work, and violations, so I can select through my categories and just kind of keep my stuff organized. And with the scheduling, I I am using manually right now. That just means I go into the intelligent agent and tell it to run, but it does have options for once a week, twice a week, every other day. There's a lot of options. So I think the scheduling would also depend on what the nature of the agent when you're creating it. Okay. So when you open up an intelligent agent, right at the top, you can name it. You can give it a general description. This description is just for you. It doesn't get shared out with anyone that gets the agent or gets flagged on it. This just kind of explains it for you. And then you can see where right underneath that you can find a spot to add the category. And if you can check off agent is enabled, I think that's required for scheduling if you have it on some sort of auto schedule. But if you run it manually, I've found that having that checked or unchecked didn't really matter. But you can see over here too, these are the options for scheduling that you can run. You can set these agents to run at. And when you do daily or weekly, I think it even further drops down to like days of the week or what time of those days that it runs. So it gives you a lot of control on it precisely when you want it to go. Like you could have it run 10 minutes before the end of the school day, and then everything has been run. And then if you have time at the end of the day to deal with those, then they're already there and you can just handle it as an example. All right, so in the criteria, this is where you set what is going to trigger the agent. And I'll show you in pictures here, but you'll see the default ones it comes with. And then there's a option for release conditions as well. And so again, common ones I've been using: award earned, score on a quiz, and assessment not submitted. And again, that has to be a Brightspace assignment. It doesn't play nice with external assignments like Google and things like that. The action in here is you're also going to select send an email. So this will not just inform the student, but it will generate an email. And the cool feature in this is they have these replacement strings. You can see them. I forget the official term for that fancy bracket. It might just be a bracket, but they have a list of those that you can copy and paste in. And when the email is generated, it will actually put in the student's name or whatever information that replacement string represents. It will personalize it to each email depending on what user gets flagged. So that's really nice. I know in the past I've used like a template email, and then you have to go in and replace the student's name or the him to her or whatever it is, and you don't always catch them all, but even then that adds up to like 5 minutes. And if you're doing 10 emails, you've almost spent an hour just in editing these emails that you have to send out. So this eliminates all of that process to do that. And so I have some images here. So when you get down to the criteria, it gives you class list options. I don't really mess with those. But you can see those default login activity and course activity. Again, I haven't found a use for those, but underneath that is where you can set the release conditions. And in that example, you can see that I made a release condition to earning a 100 on one of the quizzes I posted in a course. Below criteria, when you open up, when you're in creating an intelligent agent, after that is the action. The repetition, again, this can depend on the nature of the intelligent agent. But I typically just do the first time, especially if something for like a quiz, you may run it once or twice depending on when kids turn it in. So this way it won't duplicate users that have already been flagged for this particular intelligent agent. And then by default, send email is not checked off. But as soon as you open it up, it will drop down to all of this information. And the to and the CC options are blank when you open this. So in the to, you want it to send to the student. So that's a replacement string. And if you look at the bottom of that picture, when you click on that blue string, it will open up a whole list of the replacement strings that you can use. You can just copy and paste them out of that and put them in there. And an important step is that you CC it to your school email address so that you get a copy of the email. There's no direct way to set the parent's email in this, even though they're in Brightspace. So there's an extra step you have to do where you basically will forward this email from your inbox to the parent. So until the worlds align and we can access parent emails in this nature, this step is kind of required. Oop, yeah. All right. So this is how you set up the email. So the kids in Brightspace will get an email sent to their Brightspace email, and then you will get emailed to your Outlook. So on the left, you can see that's the drop-down menu of replacement strings. There's more than in that snapshot. You can see there's a whole scroll bar. But there's a lot of cool information that if you want it personalized, you can put those in there and it will insert based off the user and the course that information that you need. And I also use those in the email that I create. So again, the heading's personalized. So it will say to the parents and guardians of Joey Smith, or Joey in this case, because I've just asked for his first name. And then you can, what course, the unit organization, unit, that thing is whatever your Brightspace course is called. So, I teach high school, so it will say whatever science class I teach. And then I added the high school. You never know if they have siblings in other schools. And then as the body of the email, you can throw in the student's name, all this other information that for every person this agent flags, it will put their information in that email. You don't need to edit it. And another cool feature is you can have an attachment that goes out with each of these emails. And that could be anything, as long as you can save it on your computer, you can upload it in there. And I've done things with links, best practices, things like that. It's just additional information that you don't want to cloud the email with, clog it up with all sorts of stuff. So that can be an additional click thing that they can do. Now, you would also, for your sanity, want to go into Outlook and create some email rules so that all of these emails that you're generating don't just flood your inbox. You can create a folder with rules and it will just slip them into a folder, and then you can deal with them at your leisure, and they're not getting buried in all of your other emails that come in your inbox. So you will want to create a folder in your Outlook for this. I called mine Intelligent Agent. And then you go into the rules. So there's a rules icon at the top of your Outlook. And when you click on that, you can see in my snapshot that I already created my rule. But if you haven't, you just add new rule. And there are just two conditions. You need two actions for this rule. And then any email that comes from Brightspace, and you would just copy that email disclaimer in there. And then the second action is you're moving it to the folder that you choose. With those two combined, it will never come in your inbox. It just stays in its own folder, and then you have them organized and you can deal with them when you'd want to. Oh, is this a request to share the PD thing? Yeah, probably. All right, I'll get to that at the end there. We'll get through all the good stuff here. All right, and I'll talk about some advantages and disadvantages, and then I'll run through a model of creating an agent. I'm going to and just kind of show you firsthand. Some of the advantages is this automation of it. Again, it's a time saver. It reduces the chance of putting the wrong kid's name in there or the wrong him or her that is in there, and which frees up your time. Like, you know, our time is precious and there's never enough of it. And it just gives you more time to focus on some other things than just sending emails or deciding not to because you don't have time, but you initially wanted to. Some of the disadvantages or struggles is that it's based off data. And if the data is not updated, like graded work, then that time of effectiveness of letting parents and students know kind of grows too long. So some tips for that are, you know, keeping up with grading, especially if it's something you know you're going to attach some sort of email with the agent with, and dedicating some time to run the agents. I mean, it's not timeless. It does take some time. It's saving a lot of time, but you definitely have to commit some time in there. And again, just, you know, being quick with your emails is, and keeping parents informed could help your case. Some other disadvantages is it utilizes a lot of Brightspace functions, and if people or staff are new to Brightspace, it might be too many apples in the cart at once to jump right into that if they haven't experienced using release conditions or creating awards, or they haven't crossed over to doing assignments and quizzes in Brightspace. So you know, there's some tutorials and stuff. I know the Department of Technology, they have a lot of tutorials on these particular features of Brightspace. So it may, some people just may need to work up to it so that they are proficient with it and can keep it going. You know, it's unfortunate if you try to start something and then it becomes too much of a monster and you just kind of drop it. I have, and again, I'll share the link for this in the chat here, but I have a few tutorials on creating quizzes and then groups and release conditions. So if you're interested in learning more about how to create groups and release conditions, I have a couple of those shameless plugs. All right. And then I think that's my slides. I'm going to make sure get the link. Do I do? Yeah, I'm going to change that to view. Bam. All right. So I shared the link to this presentation, and then I was going to jump over to one of my classes here and run an intelligent agent that I want to do for an activity I had students do today, or yesterday and today. All right, so, all right, I'm gonna move this over to my other screens. There we go. So I'm gonna, under teacher tools and course admin is where you'll find the intelligent agent. It's already all the way down at the bottom under communication. And I'm going to copy one, and that's the cool thing. Once you make like a positive email, like intelligent agent, you can copy your agents and then just modify them for that particular thing. So I have a couple positive ones that I've used for quizzes. And so I'm going to copy this one because I left a quiz for them to do. So I'm going to copy that one. All right. And as soon as you click on it, it goes right into the editing. Aced, and then I'll just keep it a different name. All right, positive email category. Scheduling, I'm not going to mess with the scheduling because I'm going to run this manual. I'll probably just run it once or twice once kids have submitted their attempts. And criteria, again, I'm not changing anything except for the release condition. I'm going to create a different one because this is not for this quiz. So I'm going to create it. And for this one, I'm actually going to attach it to an award. So one of the things when they finished the second quiz with a 100, they earned a homework pass, which is it's a pre-made award in Brightspace if you go in there. Someone had already created it, so I just grabbed it and put a release condition on that award that they would earn it upon getting a 100 on this quiz. So I could go about it two ways. But since they had to kind of go through two quizzes to earn that award, I'm going to use the award. So award earned. And then, nope, where is it? Free homework. Here it is. All right. So if anyone earned this award, the intelligent agent is going to flag them and it will generate this positive email for that student. So I'm going to create that release condition. And then in the actions is where we set up the email. So I checked it off, and this is the same as you saw in that image. This kind of is not going to change. I did have to remember that I had to change the title in the subject line. So for my ease of being able to forward the emails to the parents, I put the student's first and last name and what course they're in. That way in Outlook, and you'll see this, I can just look at the subject line without having to open the email, and I know what kid I need to find in PowerSchool to get their parents' email. And then I put I typed in aced the skills assessment. So I'm just going to update that because that's what this is for. And then the body of the email, I have kind of a generic opening. And I had ChatGPT write me this email. I just prompted it to, it's amazing. You just tell it exactly what you want and it fires it off. Of course, the email was pretty wordy. So I toned it back a little bit just to kind of do whatever. I'm curious to see if, parents get multiple emails that just pretty much say the same thing. It might lose its luster, so I might have to kind of switch it up a little bit. But again, time saver, ChatGPT, man, just write me an email. I just want to say nice things, and it does a good job at it. But you can see within there, I personalized it by adding places where the student's name would show up. I could put in like the title of the quiz that they got on there just to really attach if they want to go look at that. But parents getting an email that their kid aced a quiz is enough. They don't need to know exactly what it was. So, and it's ready to rock at this point. So once you make one, like copying it and modifying it for another purpose takes even less time. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to run it. Okay. So there's a drop down arrow here. You could do a practice run. But this will run it, but it won't generate any emails to people. So if you just want to make sure everything's going to run the way you intend it to, that's always a good idea at first, especially if you're copying these intelligent agents around. If you don't select like the release conditions to be copied as well, it might reset. And then it will send the email. It will flag everyone. If you don't set any conditions, it will just flag everyone. And you'll get emails generated for all your students. And you don't want to do that. So you can do a practice run just to see how it goes. but I'm going to run it now. And it comes up with a prompt, just says it's basically, it's going to take some time to complete, but you can do other things while you're doing that. It's not like if you're copying a course files, like you have to wait for that to go. You can go and you can even leave this Brightspace and come back later and see that it will tell you who got identified when you click on that button there. And then once I see that it has started to run, I'll jump over to my email and just show you what it looks like. And that should be perfect timing, like 3 minutes or 5 minutes left. All right, I'm going to check my email and see if any have come through yet. Nope. So, I have now my other emails that I send out, like I do cell phone violations. I make an award, and awards can be anything. Kids kind of think that they're all positive, but you can make an award for anything. And it's a great way for you to just quickly go into your class list in Brightspace and just attach that award to the student, and they get notified of it. But it also gives you something to create a release condition around. So if they get the second violation, I can run this intelligent agent, and anyone with the second level violation gets flagged. And I have an email and talking about best practices and ChatGPT things, and that way you can communicate home really quickly for things that are not tests or quizzes. So awards are another whole session that I think people should take time to look into, because it's pretty interesting. All right, let me check our email here. All right, so we got some emails. All right, let me switch over here. So now I'm in my email. I'm in my intelligent agent folder. These are the students that aced that quiz. So it has the student's name. I can go right to my PowerSchool and find the parent's email, and then I just forward that email to the parent, and they basically get the same thing, that I generated. So, and then it's that, it's just that easy. I don't know. Sorry. Any questions from the field?
Yeah, nothing came through in the chat.
Yeah. All right. Right. So I saw Maggie's question there. Darren and I spitballed about that this summer. I asked him about trying to streamline the emails for parents, and there was just no connect.
Yeah, I mean, you could, I guess, copy the email text into an email in your Brightspace class list, because they are connected in the class list, just not in intelligent agents.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Maggie. There could be other ways that you could get this email to the parents. For me, I felt like this was pretty streamlined. Even though you have to open up PowerSchool to access those emails. You probably could just duplicate a screen too and just pull the emails from the Brightspace, but you still have to forward it to the parents. But also from PowerSchool, the advantage, like there's multiple people that have emails for that student. And especially, things like Ace the Quiz, you send that out to all their people that have emails and can accept. Yeah. Yep. Again, like all these tricks, there's so much technology out there these days. We all have these ways that we apply it. And the bottom line is you're just trying to save time, but also be, communicative. And I think this quarter, I was looking at my folder. I've probably sent 60 emails out to all of, amongst all of my courses in the first quarter alone. And yeah, and I dig it because I'm getting, parent, all the positives, parent connection. When they get an email from me, they're not automatically assuming their kid was on their phone again. Like it could have been a quiz, things like that. Yep. Yeah, any award you create in that course, when you go to, let me just go to edit one, and we're at the end of our time here, but the Google form is in there. But when you go down to release conditions, when you select award, you get to choose from all the awards that you've put into your course. Getting some lag here. But yeah, so if you even make your own and it's in there, you can attach it to that. All right. And thanks again, everyone, for leaning in. I guess it's kind of a good thing there weren't too many questions.